We've got big news and big laughs today.
Welcome to Vacation Mavens, the podcast that brings you travel inspiration and practical tips from two moms who know how to plan the perfect trip.
I'm Tamara from Your Time to Fly.
And I'm Kim from Stuffed Suitcase. With over 40 years of travel experience between us, we're here to share our favorite destinations from road trips to cruising, theme parks, and European adventures.
Whether you're planning a family vacation or a mom getaway, we have the tips and tricks to make memories that will last a lifetime.
Tamara, today is going to be a pretty big episode, I think, for our listeners. So I'm going to pass it off to you. You get to get started to give the big news.
Oh, thanks. I get to give the not so good news.
news.
I don't know. So I feel like very emotional, because we've been such close friends and I've been doing this for so long, but this is actually going to be our last episode. Doesn't mean we're not going to be friends. I love Kim. I can't wait to see her again. And we're not getting out of travel at all. But it's been a long journey. Honestly, what did they say? Most podcasts make it 7 episodes?
7 episodes or something.
I'm sure when we passed 7 years, we felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, we celebrated 9 years earlier this year. So
I mean, we're getting close to 10 even.
We're almost at 10.
So it's been a really great journey. We've had a lot of really good times together, and some of those we're going to share today. So you don't press pause quite yet, because we're going to go a little behind the scenes and show you some of the funnier, not always so glamorous side of our travels.
Yeah, being a travel content creator, it's like the what versus what you don't see. A little bit of that today.
Exactly. But it's been such a great journey, and I'm so glad that I found someone else that loved podcasting and loved travel as much as I did to share this. And we've had so many great guests on over the years. But it's just one of those things that the world is changing. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a celebrity, every person has a podcast now. And there's only so much time in the day that people can listen to something. And we love all of our listeners, especially I know there's so many of you that have been so loyal over the years, and can't say how much we appreciate that. And
I'm going to get emotional on that.
I know it's been
that's been the hardest
rewarding
thing for us.
and wonderful. But when it comes down to it, we all only have so much time in a day.
Yeah.
Stop looking like you're going to cry. And those
I know,
of you
I'm trying
on
not
video
to.
will see it. But we both have new ventures that we're undertaking. And it's just, we only have so much time in the day and so many things that we can allot our time to. And sometimes it also comes down to feeding our families. The podcast has always been a labor of love and not something that is a revenue generator for us. And so these are all things that we have to look at as we move forward. And so we're going to miss everybody so much.
Yeah, I do just want to reiterate everything you have said, that I'm so thankful for everyone who has tuned in over the years and everyone who's subscribed to us and followed us, and getting the chance to have these weekly conversations with you. I'm going to get emotional. I didn't want to get emotional.
It's hard.
It's really a gift. And oh my gosh, why am I getting so emotional? But let's get into some, I know, let's get into some funny moments, because we're going to try and end on a little bit of a high note and reminisce over some of the great travel trips that Tamara and I have had together, and some of those funny bloopers or behind the scenes that maybe you guys didn't hear about or didn't know about. So we're going to walk through, and Tamara's going to start us off with one of our classic stories from one of the very first trips we took together. You don't have to name names.
Time. Yeah, I will just say that this is the first press trip that we went on together after we met each other. So we had already connected. We were becoming friends, and we were starting to plan the podcast together. We went on this press trip, and I think, Kim, you arrived first. And I remember you texting me or calling me and be like, we're staying at a country inn and suites, which is not what we expected. And it was such a comedy of errors, that press trip. I mean, the thing that I remember most is that one of the events that we did was a paint and wine night, except there was no wine, and the dinner was just sandwiches. And so Kim and I basically hijacked our driver and van to go purchase wine for the group, because I'm like, I am not sitting there and painting, 'cause I am not artistic. It's not my thing. I need some wine involved in that venture. And then we had a good time. But then we had these paintings that who knows, they might be in some housekeeper's house somewhere. I don't know, because I didn't bring it home with me.
Yeah, we made a canvas that we had to carry on. Yeah. No, that was
What
hilarious.
about, we had
I was thinking of the swag because then I have a story that I called you. Yeah. One of the swags felt like they just went to the city hall and it went to each department and was like, hey, what do you have to give us? And I'll never forget one of ours. Pretty sure it was the police department. It was a travel tray.
Yeah, I did. I was like, is this a coin purse? What is this thing? Yeah, it might have even been the fire department, which would make maybe a
That would
little
make
bit
a little
of
more sense.
you know?
I don't know.
But it was pretty much, what do you have in a drawer from 10 years ago that we can give away to these travel writers that are coming in?
Yep.
And just so you guys know, yes, many times when we visit a destination, they'll welcome us with a little goodie bag of like things
Yeah.
from their region. And this one was just hysterical. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was really like whatever stuff had been branded, you know,
Yeah.
a coaster, just random.
It was
Very
random
the
stuff.
cigarette one. And we went
Yeah.
and we met the mayor.
We met the mayor. I remember in the city hall, we met the mayor. Yeah.
I mean,
It was
maybe
very
there's some
special.
travel writers that could do something with that, but we were talking about family travel at the time. Like, not many families are going to request to meet the mayor. So,
Yeah. It was a little
Yeah.
funny. It was funny, but
well, things went up
very
from there,
sweet.
though.
Yeah. No, things went up. But quickly, I want to talk about swag because you weren't with me, but I called you when I went to Albuquerque. And I will admit that I was not a watcher of this show, but remember I called you
Oh, the
and I
Breaking
said,
Bad.
I called you and was like, they're giving me all this bail bond stuff. Better call Saul. Like, what kind of press trip is this? And you were like, that's so funny. And I'm like, what's funny about it? I don't get it. I'll never forget that you helped clue me in that it's from the TV show. But yeah, our trips definitely took a little uphill from there. Which one should we talk about?
Oh, well, you just said Albuquerque, which makes me think of El Paso.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did El Paso together as a girls' trip. And there's some things that I always talk about with that trip. Like, I loved when we went to the boot factory and getting to
So
see the
cool.
skill and the time
Craftsmanship,
and everything,
yeah.
the craftsmanship that goes into making these custom cowboy boots.
Yeah, it was
are just-
Lucchese, right? Lucchese.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And I still have those boots. I keep
Yeah.
offering them to Hannah if she wants, because I feel like everybody in Arizona
They're in style
wears,
now,
like,
yeah.
Although the white boots are a big trend,
Yeah,
like white
true.
cowboy boots. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think my turquoise ones are really cool. But we did a couple things that really challenged us at that trip. One of them challenged me, and that was the ATVs, because I'm much more comfortable in like a Polaris 4x4, but ATV, I was convinced I was going to flip it on myself. And so I was
A little
more
hesitant.
cautious, which makes it even harder to drive.
Yeah.
But then I know one that challenged both of us, but especially you, was we did this hike where we then crawled through what used to be like copper mine.
It was a copper mine, I think. Yeah. Yeah. In one of their state parks. And so we show up with this guy and he leads us and he unlocks this like official state park door thing. And we go with hard hats. And I don't remember if we had a vest or I don't remember anything. I just remember the hard hats. And then we're walking along through this mine. And pretty soon, I think it was you, Tamara, that clued me in. The spiders started dropping down from the ceiling on us. And
I think I like tried to subtly like
you didn't
brush
want to
one
tell me.
away and-
Yes.
yeah,
You
'cause
were
it-
trying not to tell me because I do
Yeah.
not like spiders. I have an issue with spiders, so I remember that. And then
Yeah.
we just started laughing at each other like it was just the most random experience that we were in. And
Yeah.
we made but those kind of memories, like we laugh about it all the time. And I think that's part of what makes travel so great, right? Is you can plan things as much as possible, but then there's all these like hiccups or funny aspects to it that those are what
Yeah.
become the stories that you remember.
Well, that's why I love girls' trips too, that have some kind of element of some, I don't know, like adventure or just like an
Yeah.
activity that's not just, oh, we're sitting by the pool and drinking cocktails, because that's where the funny stories happen that you then will treasure and it reminds you maybe of the times that you used to have together, whether it was in college or whatever
Absolutely.
it was.
For sure. I'm
Yeah.
thinking when we're talking about a little bit of adventure, how about Maine, right? Where that one where I remember Tamara and I did an Oars trip once, but Tamara and I both determined that we like running water and toilets. Like it's our bare minimum for accommodation standards. And so we have this great Maine trip that you planned basically on your own. And I just flew and showed up.
Blame it on me.
I know. No, it was
We were working with
fabulous.
the tourism board.
Yeah,
it
no,
was a great trip.
It was
a
an
great trip.
amazing trip,
Yeah.
an amazing trip, but just not prepared to show up to one of our great cabins on this hike. And yeah, you could tell because I remember it was like, I think as we walked into the room.
Yeah, we walked into this cabin. It was right on the lake, and they're like, "Oh, we gave you a lakefront." And I'm like, "Wonderful, great." We walk in, and I look at the two beds, and I look at the little wood stove, and I'm like, "Something is missing. Where is the door to the bathroom?" They're like, "Oh, no, you have to go up to the lodge." And I remember that night, I of course had to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I creep out of the cabin. and I'm running through the woods, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to run across either a bear or a moose, like on the path. And then I get up there in the lodge, like most of the lights are out. So I like come into the lodge, use the bathroom, and then I seriously debate just sleeping on the
Sleeping.
couch for the rest. I'm like, then Kim will be scared of what happened to me. So I had to force myself to go back to the cabin.
Oh
And
no.
I've done so many glamping things since, and it's the same if it's a bathroom like in a bathhouse or something or a
Oh
lodge.
yeah.
I inevitably will wake up and then I'll be like, can I wait until morning? Can I? And by the
I
time
hate
you
that.
do all that and then you walk through the cold or whatever to the bathhouse where the lights are on and then you come back, like it's impossible to fall back to sleep. So,
It's so brutal.
yeah.
I
But
like
do you remember
bathrooms.
the first cabin that we stayed at? I'm not even sure you could call it a cabin. It was like, it was a beautiful vacation home.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Was that the one at Moosehead?
Yeah. And we
Yeah,
had
it
like
was.
multiple
Oh, that was
bedrooms.
gorgeous.
I remember you making us shrimp scampi and
Oh,
us like playing music and like
that's
singing
remember. I
along to
remember
that and
playing
having wine.
music and yeah, and I remember we had an amazing sunset
Yeah,
down the lake
yeah.
there. Yep.
You know what else? I remember taking a nap and I was
Oh,
very happy about taking a nap.
nice.
I feel
That's
like I wrote a
perfect.
whole story where there's just something special about having the kind of trip where you can take a nap. Because I feel
I
like
feel
also
that
that
way.
time in our lives, like that was not
Not a
ever an
thing.
option. Yeah.
No, we still had kids like in the house, full
Yeah.
thick of
Yeah.
motherhood then. Yeah, no, I agree. That was such a great trip. So
You
much
know what
fun.
else I remember from that trip, though?
Yeah.
This was hysterical. We were trying to do this hike, and we had very specific directions. And this is how a lot of Maine can be, because up north, you have these logging roads, and it was like 0.3 miles after this tree, you make a left. And so you really had to be like calculating your mileage. And we were convinced, like, we are not in the right place. We don't know. We finally arrive
I
at the
felt like there was
trailhead.
no road at one point. Like
It was just,
it was
yeah,
just
I
like
mean, it was all just a
grass and
logging,
dirt.
yeah. And I think both of us by that point were laughing so hard at it, but we were like surrounded by mosquitoes and flies as we were like about to get out of the car and we're like, we're being invaded. How do we get out of the car? I have a video of us probably still somewhere of just like laughing in the
We
car.
were cracking up. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And then I also remember your ceiling of your car was squeaking at that point. So we were hitting all the bumps and it was like squeak, squeak, squeak. And so it was just like a comedy of errors the whole time.
Ugh,
Speaking
that
of bugs,
Volvo
though,
got so squeaky.
yeah, speaking of bugs, remember how on our one trip then back, we're hiking and there's so many mosquitoes and bugs.
Yeah.
And then we pass somebody and they're in
And she
like the
had a
full
net.
like net.
Yeah.
And we're like, why
Yeah.
didn't we think of that?
I've bought that since then.
Yeah.
And every now and then there's a place that I like to take hikes or really walks here. And I will so many times like think I should have brought that like bug net because I'm swatting at it's just usually those gnats,
It's the
but
gnats.
they
Yeah. It's not really
annoy me so
mosquitoes,
much.
but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be
I feel
careful
like
breathing
and
in
that's
too.
that summer we had a lot of I miss that we don't do as many things together
I
because
agree.
that summer we also went to Key West together.
That was that same year. That's crazy. We used to
Yeah.
travel so much more often together, and now that we're both free, we travel less.
Oh,
We got to
tell me
figure out how to
that.
fix that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Key West was fun. I remember we picked up the car and headed out, and I remember you requested convertible. Did we get a convertible? I think we ended up not. There
No.
was something weird with it. You wanted, we were thinking we'd get a convertible because like photos, it looks
Photos,
so
yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
But then we're
That
no,
was not in the budget.
it was not in the budget. We ended up with a sedan. But yeah, no, that was a great trip. I'll never forget a few things. First of all, the Isla Morada when we went to the place for to eat, and you could pay to feed those giant
The
fish.
tarpon. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, they're huge. That was like blew my mind. And then after I saw what was in the water, then what did we do? Go ahead, Tamara. You
Was that time? I feel like I didn't even think about going in the water. Was that snorkeling or was it just a
yes.
scenic sail? It was
No,
snorkeling.
it was snorkeling. The scenic sail was in Key West, I think.
We did also like something in Key West where we could snorkel or just swim in the water for a little bit, and then we did some
I
kayaking. It
don't
was
even
some kind of
remember
like
now.
eco
Oh
tour.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. I actually liked that because there was like a
I like that
sandbar
too.
they went
Yeah.
to, and so you could chill out on the
Plus, that water
sandbar.
was clear and
Yes,
calm.
I like
Yeah,
that.
when we were up in what Key Largo or
Key
Isla Morada?
Largo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Isla
Um,
Morada was where we ate the
yeah,
tarpon place, but I don't remember.
but it was choppy and Kim and
Yeah.
I both get motion sick. And I don't remember even going in the water, but I do remember standing at the back of that boat just staring at the horizon and people going in and out of the bathroom throwing up.
Yeah,
It was
it was really
not
choppy.
fun.
Like I remember going into the water, but I don't think I thought you lasted longer than me, or maybe but I think once one of us got out, it gave the other one permission. Okay, I don't need to stay in here. But we're like holding the pool noodles and it was so bad. I felt
I'm
so
such
bad.
a wimp when it comes to snorkeling. Like I needed to be very calm because that's why I was so scared when I did the Galapagos cruise because
Yeah.
and I skipped like one or two snorkels. I was so proud of myself that I went on the ones that I did, especially when they're like, "Oh, maybe we'll see sharks today." But yeah, I don't like when the water's choppy and it's like going into my snorkel and then I'm
Right.
choking and I'm getting bounced around. And I do like to have a flotation device because
Yeah.
as I've said, I'm not the best swimmer. I guess I always tell people I like to stay on top of water,
Yeah.
which I guess technically snorkeling is, but you're half and half. So
Yeah. No, I don't want to be where any wildlife can get to me. The water.
yeah.
That's my issue. Is like I'm just constantly fearful of things that are going to eat me. So, like giant tarpon, but
Yeah.
evidently they don't. They don't.
You
So
know,
that was a funny trip.
talking about wildlife, that just made me think of our trip to Sonoma.
Oh yeah.
I know
What
that
was our
that sounds
wildlife story? I
like a
just remember
lot.
the wine tasting where it started getting spicy at the end. Remember that?
Right,
We'll talk
right,
about
right.
that, but you tell your
But
wildlife.
I was just thinking about we stayed at Safari West,
Oh
and
yeah.
like as much as you've been to Africa, that's my only safari story with you is that we were right outside of, I think the giraffes
The
were like
giraffes.
outside of our tent. And that was such
Yeah.
a that was a really fun trip because we met in San Francisco and then we drove up together, right?
It's
So
an
we like
awesome
drove
trip.
across the Golden Gate Bridge together. We had a really nice like wine tasting lunch. It was,
I
yeah, I
actually really
really,
liked that trip. I think that's a great girls' destination. It's a little off the beaten path. People don't think of it. And like
yeah,
you said, flying in and out of San Francisco is so easy for people to from all around the country. Because I think that's part of what makes a good girls' trip is a main airport where everyone can
yes,
get to and then not too
definitely.
far away.
Yeah, and we did hiking, we did zip lining. Remember the
Yeah.
Charles
Schultz
Museum?
Museum,
I had
peanuts.
some cute
Yeah.
photos with the peanut stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, that festival that we went to, you'll have to tell that story because that was pretty
So it was
funny.
a wine tasting festival and they gave us tickets for it. And it's one of those things where you get, I think they give you a cup when you walk in and then we had tickets, right? To turn in
Yeah.
for however many drinks you wanted. And early in the, we showed up fairly early. I think we Ubered there and we showed up fairly early and we're like, this is cool. And we're going around and we had quite a few tickets. Like we didn't feel like we were running out or but I think people were like leaving tickets or buying extra tickets or I don't know what was happening or how people were getting so many tickets. But by the as the night went on, things started getting a little spicier. People were arguing and we felt like there was about to be a fight that broke out.
Absolutely.
And we're like, I think it's time to order the Uber.
We're gonna go have dinner now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It was just funny to watch the progression of people, like the more alcohol that they've imbibed,
Yep.
like the louder and touchier, which is why,
Yeah.
right, they stopped serving alcohol on planes during COVID because people were testy enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't need to add that to the mix.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
was funny. But that was a good trip. That was funny.
it was
I'm trying to
nice.
think of another one. What should we bring up next? What else have we done? I feel like we've done a few of them. Some good ones that we don't really have maybe funny blooper stories, but some behind the scenes. Maybe talk about our Ireland trip that we did together because I know that was my first experience in Ireland. Was that your first?
It was my second. Yeah, I'd gone there for a conference,
Okay.
TBEX, before,
Oh,
but
you were at T-Bex before that. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was that one. Okay. Yeah, that was a funny trip because we all went and we were split into these groups. And Tamara and I, unfortunately, weren't in the same group, which we were really bummed about. And she gets to go to this beautiful estate, which I'll let her tell a little bit more about what like, a lead into that. Meanwhile, I go into this tiny town and get to watch these kids play this random sport. And it was just a very different vibe of like my itinerary versus her itinerary. And then
We had some
eventually,
good times together though, because
I was going
we
to say
did
Northern
Dublin
Ireland.
together.
Yeah,
I
Dublin is
remember we kicked
awesome.
off that trip at the Guinness Storehouse, and it was because there was a company
Yeah,
that brought us in, and one of their, I don't know if it's an
their
investor
investor.
or
Yeah,
a board of directors. Yeah. So
yeah.
an investor is Tom Skerritt, which you might know from like
Do do
Top
do
Gun.
do do do.
And
Sorry, I
anyway,
can't
we
do that.
were at this
Okay.
big luncheon, and I randomly had put my stuff down and not knowing that he was sitting next to me. So the whole time I'm like so nervous because like I don't want to be like ridiculous when it comes to
Yep,
be like I love Top Gun or
I
something, you know.
know.
And I also loved Steel Magnolias, which he was great in
Oh,
that. But he was grabbing my phone and showing me like to do something on my phone, and we are like trying to have this conversation. So Yeah, I
Awesome.
remember I posted something on Facebook and somebody was like, "You're telling me Viper was your wingman?"
That's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was so jealous. I was like, that's amazing. But that was good food. And I'll never forget there. We got our stouty, like we got to put our pictures on top of
Yeah.
our
Yeah, it was
Guinnesses.
like our
So
own. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was
That's
fun.
funny.
That was really good. And then we went up to Northern Ireland and had a blast. But we had our first taste of like influencers in the wild, which I feel like every time I take a trip now, I was just in Italy. And it's like everyone is an influencer. It's really crazy
Oh.
how much it affects like your time because
Well, you saw
yeah.
that because you were just in the Dolomites, but did you see how some of the farmers are adding turnstiles and with a payment? And
Yep.
I saw one that had a line. It looked like Disney. It was ridiculous, like how
Yeah.
many people were looking to do this
Yeah.
hike
So the
and
area of the
sad.
Dolomites we were in didn't have that at all.
That's
We were
good.
so excited because the ones where the lakes are, because everybody wants, we were not where the main lakes are. There's pretty lakes where I was, but it wasn't the ones that are Instagram famous.
Yeah.
The area we were at was about an hour ish, two ish away from that other Dolomites area.
Yeah, I remember in Ireland, there were all types of influencers on this trip. And I think Kim and I come from the background more of we wanted to create content for our blog. So we wanted to learn about the place, advise people like what to do there, why to go there, like all of that. And we definitely want to capture pretty pictures and all
Yeah.
of that as well. But then there were some that were just like only about the photo in a more just like artistic
Artistic.
way. And for some reason they were always like exempted from doing the castle tour or the garden
Yeah.
tour or whatever, and they were just out in their like little Red Riding Hood
Yeah.
gear doing like drone footage and all of that. And later
Yeah.
I was on, if somebody's listening they might be able to figure this out, but I was with some of these people on that time that we were separated, and I
Yep.
remember it was a couple, and the guy was like, "Oh no, she doesn't eat while she's working." And is
Thanks.
that
No,
something
you
you
need
encourage?
another.
Like,
Yeah.
not sure. And also, I like to write about you know.
Exactly. The food matters when you're
So
traveling. Yeah. It's kind of
kind of
funny world.
crazy the personalities that you run across. That's why we have brought a lot of friends onto this podcast, and those are all people that we like enjoy being around and
Yeah.
enjoy traveling with, or like the way that they share their stories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I never want to describe, don't want to be a hater at all. And
no,
people create content and do whatever they want. And if they inspire people or whatever, hats off. But I think from, like you said, our standpoint of travel writing and sharing stories and all of that is you have to actually experience the destination, not just pretty pictures.
yeah.
Anyways, that was funny. But your luxury estate where you got to go, you had to bike there, right? And you had to.
We didn't bike there,
Oh,
but
okay.
we did have a really nice day. It was the Mount Juliet estate, and I still want
Yeah.
to go back
I
there because we were
know.
there for the night, but you don't
Yeah.
get to experience the estate at all. And they had horses, and like I
They
would
had
love to go and
falconry. I've
do
seen people
a
go and
whole
do their
estate thing
falconry
there.
there. Yeah.
But we did that day, it was all about capturing like a view of Ireland in one day. So they had us do a
Yeah.
whole bunch of things like in one day. And so what my group did was we biked along. It was a very nice bike path, and there were little ferry houses along the way. Would have been great, but it was raining. And so we were
Shocker,
biking in
it's
the rain
Ireland.
with our slickers on.
Yeah.
And then we had to go right from there to afternoon tea at a castle. And I was like, can I change? Because I really don't know what to wear that's good for biking and afternoon tea at a castle. Like, so it
You needed
was,
to get the tips from the influencers. They would have told you
yeah.
about how to pack the outfit change.
And Kim and I are not the people that have those little like pop-up stands that they like hide behind and change their
Yeah.
clothes.
Yep.
And or we don't have, we don't have prop people, we don't have photographers, like
We
Instagram
do it all ourselves. We
husbands.
don't have Instagram husbands. That's the
Yeah.
darn.
That's
That's
why
what
we
I
miss
needed.
traveling with each other. 'Cause
Yeah.
probably when you've seen the most photos of us, it's been when
It's
we're
when we're
with
with each other. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah. So that was another fun trip. And another European trip. We've been to Portugal together, which was a
Yes.
fabulous trip. That was through
So
our
much
friends
to
at
experience there.
Epic Travel. They put together an amazing, I feel like 17, 19. I don't
I think
remember.
we were there
It
like
was-
17 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we
It was
saw
fabulous.
Porto
Started
and
in
Douro
Porto.
and Alentejo and a little bit of the Algarve, which, by the way, I just talked to someone last night. I think in December I'm going to go back to Portugal and do more of the Algarve because
Oh,
it's a region that I feel like I didn't get to
yeah,
see enough of in
I
that way.
agree.
Because I have a few clients that are doing Portugal next year, and I want to be able to
Yeah.
really be an expert on that.
I've been dreaming of going back to Portugal and especially that area again because
It
I was like,
has
I felt like we got
become,
a little taste of it.
yeah, it's become so popular,
Yeah.
but it's still such a great destination.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
think it's just,
especially if you can get out of, I love Lisbon, I love
yeah.
Porto, but
Yeah.
the crowds can be a lot. But if you get to some of these other areas, the
Yeah.
Algarve in the summer is going to be crazy. But
Like,
off
whatever the
season
shoulder
or,
season can be.
yeah,
Yeah. I think what people flock to Algarve for the beaches for Europeans, that's why they go there. But
yeah.
I think for US travelers or North American travelers, a big thing is just the history. And I think it's so interesting to see the different architecture in the cities like Lisbon and Porto, and then you go to the Algarve coast where you still have much of the Moorish architecture, and just seeing that juxtaposition of the like different builds and the way things just look differently. It's a really cool thing.
And
So,
do you remember when we went to the beach for sunset in Comporta? Do
yes,
you
I
remember how
remember it.
beautiful
It
that
was
beach is?
gorgeous.
It's
Yeah.
like one of the most beautiful beaches, like in not in a Caribbean sense, but in
No,
a flat, wide sand, just
long
beautiful,
walk.
beautiful, long, like pristine kind of beach that had a beach club, but it wasn't like it's not a beach club where it's just lines and lines of chairs.
Yeah.
It was more like you had services there. And I feel like that's something that I know is becoming more popular, but I still feel like a lot of US clients don't fully want to, or I would say US travelers like aren't, it's not like top of their radar. But I
Yeah.
feel like if you want to, if you are going in the summer and it can be hot, like pair Lisbon and something else
Yeah,
with
with
time at the
Comporta. Yeah,
beach,
because Comporta was near Lisbon, like it's just
Yeah,
south
very
of it,
close.
so very easy to get to. Yeah, and then of course we added on the Azores to that trip as
Yeah.
well, which is just that's another place I want to get back to. And
I was just talking to someone last night from Azure Travel, and they run a tour agency as well as with clients to put together custom trips, and they're based in the Azores.
okay,
And so
nice.
we were talking about different things, but I'm considering like if I go, should I do a stopover in the Azores? And because you know how much I really wanted to go to Pico after we
Yeah,
had that
after we
wine.
had the
The
wine.
wine was so good.
Yeah,
But I'm just not sure if I want to do that on my own or save it for when Glenn and I could do it because it would be like a very short get a taste of it. You know how to we as much as we've traveled together, we've done a lot of independent travel and
yeah,
that's more work. It feels like
yeah,
more work because you're like, okay, I need to see all these things, I need to do all of this and you may be enjoying it, but you're in a very like work mindset
right.
versus like when we travel together, like we're jointly working, but then we're also
Join
enjoying
it
like
together.
time together. And yeah,
I'll go back with you to the Azores and Algarve anytime. That's definitely an area I fell in love with. So lots of fun.
we've
But
also
what do
had
you?
some really good experience in Arizona.
Yes. Speaking, which is your home away from home
Yeah,
practically.
these days. Yeah, for a little bit longer.
A little bit longer. We'll see. I wonder where she's going to end up. Do you know already?
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's still gotta, yeah. So who knows where she'll end up, but right now, Arizona is your home away from home. But yeah, I've been to Phoenix, but also, of course, you and I have had trips together to Tempe and Scottsdale, which is all Phoenix area. But those are great trips.
Yeah, Tempe. I remember we were pretty active that trip because we hiked to the top of a mountain for sunrise. We
Sunrise, yeah.
e-biked, and I think that was one of the first times that I used an e-bike.
Oh, that's right.
And then we
Yes.
also kayaked on
We
the
kayaked.
lake
Yep.
or river there. And I
Yeah,
remember we
there,
were like watching the planes go
the
by
planes.
as,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Actually,
Both
I, we,
times. I remember hiking a mountain. I remember watching all the flights because it's so cool
yeah,
to see everything coming into Phoenix Sky Harbor.
when Glenn and I just went to visit Hannah in Tucson for Parents Weekend, and it was $1,200 to fly into Tucson. It was
Nice.
insane. So we booked a direct from Boston to Phoenix instead and then drove down. And
Yeah.
as we were driving down, I'm like, oh, I think that's where the Buttes are. Yeah, the Buttes. And that's probably where we kayaked. And,
Oh,
like just,
yeah.
you can see off the highway a little
Yep.
bit.
Yeah, I think that's,
I
yeah,
didn't
I
see the
love
State
that.
Farm building.
That's the best story. You have to tell it. It's the best story.
Yeah, when we were
Paddleboarding.
kayaking
Oh,
or
were we
whatever,
kayaking? Yeah,
I think so.
kayaking.
We
Yeah, we
went
were kayaking. Yeah.
past, there's a big State Farm office building right along the banks of the lake there. And I was telling him the story. So, first of all, I have to say that I don't really pay attention to commercials. Like, my family will always laugh at me because they're like, oh, that commercial. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm really good about zoning out when it comes to commercials. And I also pretty much only watch streaming now.
Yeah, especially
It's only
now.
when I watch sports that I'm watching anything like live TV. So anyway, I forget what we were watching, but I was like, that guy looks familiar. Like, what's he from? And Hannah and Glenn just looked at me and they're like, that's Jake from State Farm.
That was
And
fun.
yeah, I'll never live that one down.
But I think because you were thinking he was with football and you were trying to figure out like if he was
Yeah.
you're like,
Because
is he from football?
because he's
Or
always he's with
Patrick
like one of
Mahomes
the,
or Trout. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
And so I was just like, what's that?
Yeah, it's got to be a football player. No, that's Jake from State Farm.
Some State Farm.
That's so funny. Yeah, that was a good story. Yeah, and then right next door, we've been to Scottsdale, which is definitely more of the upscale, but really known for its spas and all
such
that
good
kind of
spas.
stuff. So that was a fun trip as well. I think we had
That's
good
also
food
one of
too.
Oh, very brunch. I'm always like, I love brunch in Arizona. Tucson's
Arizona.
the same. Such good brunch
They do it so
places.
well there. I know in New York City people talk about brunch all the time, but I think Arizona has something on the whole. Like,
Yeah.
it's the perfect place for a vacation where you want to sleep in because you're not going to worry about missing breakfast. Like, you can wake up at 10 o'clock and go find breakfast until
Yeah.
noon.
The only bad part of sleeping in is that you've missed the cooler part of the day.
True, if you're there in the summer, yeah, for sure.
And also, I feel like that trip was where I'm for having my hotel pet peeves.
Did you
And
see that?
didn't
I
you-
just sent you a reel recently
Yes,
about it.
I think I'd that repost feature on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think I'd reposted that
Oh,
like a while
funny.
ago, that
Oh,
reel.
that's
Or
hilarious.
if not, it was another one by that guy.
Yeah.
Because it's so true. Like all of the things, like the light switches and but the thing that gets me every time is the bathrooms. And we've talked about it a million times, but that was the place that had the glass box bathroom.
The
That,
glass
the
box,
shower,
yep,
you
the
open
shower.
the door to the room and there's your glass box of a shower. So like even
With a
if
curtain on one side. So
Yeah.
you could close it off from like the patio.
From the bed,
Yeah,
you
from the
know.
bed and the patio. But
not
the
from
door.
anyone walking into the room, like housekeeping.
Yep. Yeah, that's hilarious. That was
Because we all know how much housekeeping knocks. They're like housekeeping as they're opening
opening the door. That's one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
Especially when you ask for late checkout and then it's like you've asked for late checkout and they're knocking on your door at 8 a.m. It's like,
Yes.
why are you doing that? I have late checkout.
When
I've learned
Hannah
to
and I went to look at some schools this summer, I was staying at like Hyatt and I get like a 4
Yeah.
p.m. checkout one.
Yeah.
Or no, I think I
2
usually
p.m.
get 2 p.m. But then the one time I used the guest of honor, which gave me 4 p.m. because she
Yeah.
was having meetings during the day and I just wanted to work in the room. And yeah, it started at 8 or 9 a.m., like every hour. And finally it was like one of these rooms, one of the times it was Hannah when I like open up the door and I'm like, what? Because I was like, 1 minute. Because
Yeah,
I'm like, how many
exactly.
times do I have to tell you? Like,
Do you have and was that with the do not disturb
Yeah.
hanger?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is if they think you're checking out, even if you have they think you just accidentally left it on, and
it's like, no, sometimes people actually want to utilize the hotel for the full amount of time that they paid for it.
yeah,
It already drives me
crazy.
crazy, like how expensive hotels are when you like check-in is at 4 and checkout is at 11.
I know.
I had some recently where
I'm paying
checkout, they were banging on my
$190
door
for
at like
that.
10:30 and I was like, I'm going to leave in 10 minutes. They're like,
Yeah.
checkout was at 10:30. And I'm like, what
What?
hotel is 10:30? Are you kidding me?
It's a random time.
And they don't always tell you when you check in.
No,
like,
they
so I have to
never tell you.
I have to remind myself to ask. And I'm like,
Yeah, I've called down a few times, but I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what time is checkout? Yeah, I always think it's funny how they're like, the new thing is they'll say, what time do you need? If you ask for late checkout, what time do you
Right.
need?
I need
always-
12:05.
I
is
know.
the-
I just go for it all. I'm like 2 p.m. Like even if
Right.
I don't need it, it's just like
Is this a negotiation?
yeah. I was like, I don't know. Do I start high and we'll meet
Right.
in the middle?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Any other funny blooper destination stories before we wrap out and
Gosh,
say our
it feels
final
like there
goodbye?
should be more like
I'm
times that
sure.
we've traveled together, but a lot of the times we see each other, it's also like conferences and
Yeah,
things like that. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I think that as we've said, I'm gonna miss getting to share our I'm gonna really miss just talking about the travel experiences too, because it's one thing to write about it, it's another thing to share it on Instagram. But like getting to talk about it, I feel like it adds such a layer of insight and personality that you just can't possibly fit
yeah.
a blog article. And I'm never going to be a big YouTube produced video person because I'm never going to
Yeah.
remember to film it all in horizontal and interview and like all that kind of stuff.
All the
So,
clips. Like I can't even like for
yeah.
think of 5-second B-rolls you need to film for a 15-minute video.
So much. So I'm going to really miss that. And I know that we're going to still get to chat, but it's not going to be as scheduled. And so
Yeah.
we're going to miss that. And then definitely, I hope that we still get to travel together
I hope
because
so.
we need
Yeah.
more funny stories to tell at some point in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you said it all. And I guess we can just wrap out by reminding everyone that, again, we're not leaving. We're still in this industry. So please just take a moment to reach out to us. I think the biggest thing is we're both active on Instagram. You can find Tamara at Your Time to Fly, and you can find me at Stuffed Suitcase. And then the bigger news is that both of us have made a pivot into upscale luxury travel planning services, helping you turn maybe some of this inspiration into a real trip if you're overwhelmed and need some help putting the pieces together. So we're both now licensed, I guess. Licensed, that's not even a term, but we're both now travel agents, advisors, whichever word you want to use. We just had a big discussion about that. So
Yes.
share it with your friends too. If you have any friends that, we'd be happy if you want to reach out to us
Yeah.
to
And I
share our
think you can
contact.
find
Yeah.
more information about those services. I know on my website. I think you
Yeah,
can
you
share
have
your
a great thing
website
on your road.
too.
I'm still in the process because I'm getting my legal stuff still
Coming
set up.
soon.
But yeah, it's by the time this publishes, it might be ready actually. But
Oh,
yeah,
because
check out our
that'll
websites.
explain it. We also had an episode earlier this year
Yeah.
about like why use a travel advisor and
Yep.
just explaining like what that means. But yeah, basically we help you create a custom itinerary. We'll book it for you, handle all of those details that can
Yeah.
be so fun for some people, especially if they
The
don't love the
planning
planning
aspect.
process.
Yeah.
But even if you love planning, we have the industry contacts and things that you might not be able to source on your own and be able to get you access to some perks that you might not
That's
be
what I
able
was
to
gonna say.
get on your
Yeah.
own too.
Even if you're
So,
not planning a big trip, Tamara and I both have access to, especially like myself with cruise lines, luxury hotels, we have access to these partner programs where we can get you spending credits, we can get you upgrades, different things like that. So even if you're not looking for a full vacation plan, we can help also book some individual stuff for you if you need that.
I was just talking to somebody about the Baja Mar because I was
Yeah.
explaining how, like, when I booked that for our family trip, it ended up saving dollars almost, but it's because we had multiple rooms over a full week. They charge like $50 a person for their buffet. So that's like $100 a day right there.
Yeah.
And then an automatic upgrade and a credit. So it really adds up,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I know a lot of you guys are family travelers. So it's always, no matter what the budget is, it's always good to save a little bit.
Yeah.
You have
Or at
something to
least
spend
feel
on
like you have
something
little
else.
perks.
Yeah.
Like I always
Yeah.
like to feel just a
A little
little
special.
special. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So again, yeah, thanks for joining us for all these years, 9 years, nine and a
yeah.
half, basically.
And definitely, like Kim said, feel free to reach out to either of us. Travel advice, just tell us you miss us. I don't know.
Aw.
Tell us you liked us. No, we're going to miss you. And I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like one of those family goodbyes where you say
Yeah.
goodbye and you kiss each other like a million
And then
times
you
and
stand
then
at the door
nobody
and you
wants
keep
to,
talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody wants to hang up
I
because
know.
it's
It is
sad.
tough. Yeah. But we will sign out and say goodbye for the final time. But I know it's sad, but it's real. Yeah.
Right. Thanks for
Thanks.
listening.
Yep. Bye.